Our guest today is MorganBrittany. Morgan is an American actress, best known for her role as Catherine Wentworth in the Dallas series. Morgan has been acting since she was 6 years old when she appeared in a Playhouse 90 episode. She has also been a dancer and a model. Morgan is also a supporter of military veterans organizations and raises funds in their behalf. Morgan has also come out as a Republican, which has often been the death of a career in Hollywood, and she supports some Republican candidates. It is my pleasure to welcome MorganBrittany to the Aminoff Effect. Welcome, Morgan.
Well, I'm so happy to be here with you.
And we're so happy that you're here. So, Morgan, you have had a long and very successful career as an actress. And I guess your most famous role was that of Catherine Wentworth on Dallas.
I think so. I think Dallas made quite an impact on the culture of the world, believe it or not. Yeah.
I think it did.
Yeah,
so
it
how
did.
did it feel to be on a show that was so successful? And
Oh my gosh. You know, it's funny because I came into the show right after the Who Shot JR, and that it was huge. It was enormous all over the world, and I was just stepping into, you know, just a tornado actually.
right.
But I've got to say, as an actor, you just go and you do your job. You don't really think about it until a little bit later, and the impact that show had on so many people's lives. I mean, I talked to so many people who every Friday night they sat in front of that television set, because we're talking before VCRs,
Right.
before anything. So it was
I was
amazing.
one of those people.
Were you really? Were you? Yeah. And so it was amazing. I never would have thought that Dallas would be one of the main things that, you know, people would remember about me. But it's so true. You never know what it's going to be. You never know.
Right. In the 1980s, you were the national ambassador for the March of Dimes.
Yes.
You
Yes.
traveled the country to bring awareness to the prevention of birth defects.
I did.
And now you're a political writer and commentator.
Oh, wow. What a switch, right?
That's right. So my
Yes.
question is, how did you go from actress to charitable spokesman to politics?
Well, I did the charity events and all of that in connection with the acting. So that was kind of something I did together. Getting into politics, becoming a commentator, becoming a writer, becoming outspoken for the conservative movement was really a 180, because in Hollywood, conservatism was not really looked upon as something that you wanted to espouse. So I don't know, I got very tired of living silently and listening to the misinformation and listening to the very, very liberal views and not being able to say anything at all. I was never able to, give my opinion on anything for fear of losing my job.
Right.
And I finally decided one day, I said, you know something, I've had a wonderful career. I've done everything pretty much that I want to do. I'm not going to stay silent any longer. And I remember, it's funny because I remember going on Sean Hannity's Great American Panel one night, and he looked at me right before we went live, and he said, "You sure you want to do this?" And I said, "I'm sure." And he said, "You may never work again." And I said, "It's okay, Sean. There are other things that are more important."
Right.
So that's how it happened, and I've been rolling along ever since.
So you must have been concerned about the direction the country was going in.
Oh, very, very concerned. I was seeing things. Really, it's the culture that I was very concerned about, because I was seeing how Hollywood influenced the culture and how we were just going down a path that I really thought was dangerous for us. And having grown up in the business, I saw it all happen. I saw Hollywood in its great days. I mean, I started out in the 1950s in Hollywood. So I did shows like the Andy Griffith Show, where I played Opie's girlfriend, and great westerns with Clint Eastwood. I did Rawhide and Gunsmoke and things like that. So Hollywood was a different place then. And so I saw the evolution of how this country was changing.
I wonder how that happened. The studio heads were all conservatives. They loved America. They were patriotic.
Yep.
I have a copy of a letter from Samuel Goldwyn to Jerry Wald, in which he said we have to be careful how we portray the country.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so you had all this patriotism in Hollywood, and it shifted. It went left. Do you know why? What happened? How did that happen?
I think that there's always been an undercurrent after the studio system went away. And like you said, the Louis B. Mayers, the Harry Cohens, the people who really made sure that the image of America was great. After all of that went away, I saw that there was an eating away of old values and the way that we knew the country to be. And I'd see it in scripts. I saw a big change in the 1960s. And I actually look back, and I think there must have been something. Remember when there was the House Un-American Activities Committee, and all of these Hollywood types were brought?
The blacklist.
Right, the blacklist and everything. I don't think they ever forgave that. And I think that even to this day, they hold that against conservatives, they hold that against the old values, because all of that was, to weed out communism, basically, and to get the messages out, whatever it was, the subversive messages out of movies and films. But I think that they hold a grudge about that even to this day. But as you saw television progress, as you saw the film world progress, scripts were pushing the envelope, they were pushing agendas. But there was pushback from the American people in the 70s when people stopped going to the movies, if you remember that.
I do remember that.
They stopped going,
Right.
and they just said, I don't want to see this. Well, Hollywood, it's all about making money.
Right.
So they started giving Americans what they thought they wanted. The television shows that were on, if you think about the 70s and the early 80s, it was the Love Boat, the Brady Bunch, the Partridge Family, but
Wholesome.
yet they were wholesome. But even so, the liberal progressive agenda was still eating into it. If you think about Norman Lear, All in the Family, they were subliminal messages that were funny. And they're so brilliant. The progressive side is so brilliant in the way that they make endearing characters so that you like them or you laugh with them, but yet they're putting a subliminal message out.
Right.
And it's very interesting how they do that. Now it's,
Not
there's
so subliminal
there's
anymore.
no standards and practices anymore.
Right.
That went out the window. Anything, everything, you can do whatever. And most people that I speak to across the country, they've turned off the networks. There's nothing for them to see. And it's very interesting. However, we're losing our kids to the culture.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we are.
So the Bernie Sanders phenomenon,
Oh, man.
where we have 70% of under 35 people supporting Bernie Sanders and socialism
I know.
in the United States.
I know that. I know that. They don't know what socialism is.
They don't.
They
That's
don't
right.
know what it is. They've never lived with it. They don't know it. What they've been taught in school is a convoluted version of what socialism is. It's very funny. My daughter, she goes to college, and she told me the other day in her art class, it's all about the glories of socialism and communism. And I said, are you kidding me? And she goes, no, what that has to do with art? I don't know.
Wow.
But they're pushing that agenda so hard, and the kids are falling for it.
Yeah.
They're buying it. It's a very scary world, because if they really knew what it was, look at Venezuela.
Yeah.
Look what's going on in Venezuela. They're lining up for food.
Socialism has never worked.
No, never worked.
It may take some countries longer to fail,
Yeah.
but ultimately it will
They
always
do.
fail.
They do. That's right.
So Hollywood and academia have fallen to
Oh yeah,
the left
absolutely they have.
because our children are not being taught what socialism is, what capitalism is, why this country prospered for 230 years.
Yeah.
Our young people don't know that. They don't know our history. So do you see us coming back from that?
You know, I hope so. This country, it has survived this long, and it truly is the greatest country on the earth.
It is.
I mean,
yeah.
it truly is.
Right.
You know that by the thousands of millions of people who risk their lives to get here.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, and it may take a catastrophe to get people to wake up. I hope not, but it could. It could take a complete implosion of our financial system. It could take people having to realize what it really means for the government to own everything and to tell you and to run your life. Because I don't think these kids are going to like that so much. I don't think they're going to like the fact that the government tells them what kind of job they can get and what they're going to make. And then whatever they make, they have to give to the government in order to get all those free things that they want.
Right.
I think it may take that.
Yeah. So they don't realize yet that they have to forfeit freedom in order to get those things.
That's right. That's right. Look, these kids on campus, they think it's okay to give up free speech. They think it's fine. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I don't think people should say things about anybody else. Really?
Yeah.
Really? And what when they start to come after you?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And wasn't the university supposed to be the place where you went for academic inquiry?
Exactly.
You wanted to hear all points of view?
Exactly.
So you could then make a decision as to which ones were best for you? That's changed.
I keep seeing this film clip of that. I guess it was a teacher who they were having some kind of a rally on campus in Missouri, I think.
Yeah.
And she's screaming and get out of here, you can't speak, you can't do that. I mean, this is so wrong, and yet the political correctness in this country has kept people silent and not saying anything, and they back down from these people. Until now.
I think it's changing.
I think it's changing.
I think that's
Don't
changing
you?
too. But what concerns me is the schools, the colleges, all of these teachers, 95% of whom are on the left.
Oh yeah, I know.
And how we change that. Conservatives don't seem to want to go into academia, into teaching. They want to go into business. So we're leaving the schools to the left to influence our children. Hollywood, for some reason, maybe it's because you can't get a break if you're a conservative, but you've got the left running Hollywood, and the films that go out around the world really influence how people think of the U.S. and influence how U.S. citizens think of their country. So these are two areas, academia and entertainment, that conservatives need to figure out how to do something about.
Well, when you're talking about films that go around the world and everything, and it's so funny. My husband is a second unit director, and he does a lot of the stunts on all of these big action films. And he sits in production meetings, and he said that when American Sniper came out, and it was such a success, that they just were ranting and raving. How could something like this make that much money? How is that who goes to see these kind of movies?
Right.
They are so disconnected.
Yeah.
They don't understand. When The Passion of the Christ made $300 million or whatever it made in just a small amount of time, literally their jaws were on the floor.
They didn't get it.
How, who, what? They could not understand it. But this is the thing. The smart ones, they make films like Captain America and Iron Man and the heroes and all of that. They may be liberal, but they know where the money is because that's what the people are going to go see.
Right.
So it is very interesting. Look at the Academy Award movies this year. Nobody has ever heard, I don't think of any of them except Mad Max, right?
Right.
Right? I know.
I haven't seen, it used to be, I used to go to movies a lot.
Yeah.
And when the Academy Awards came around,
You
I had
knew.
seen
Sure.
many of them. I don't think I saw one that was nominated.
Oh, no, we do because my husband's a member of the Academy, but
Right.
I said, nobody's going to go see this.
Right.
Who is going to go see this?
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and it is pushing an agenda where you just shake your head and go, I don't want to hear this anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't want to hear it. So it is going to be, I think, an uphill battle, although there are many producers in Hollywood who do think like we do, and they're trying to get everything out there. They're trying to get good messages, good stories, heroes, good values. I mean, role models, real role models for children today, because it's
I know
it's
some
tough.
of them,
Yeah.
and they want to do, to get the message out and to do films that bring our message, and they run into funding issues.
Sure they do. Sure they do.
And
I know.
that seems to be where they get stuck.
Yep, I know it.
But I'm hopeful that there will be a change, at least in Hollywood, hopefully at some point in the academic world. But I know a lot of conservatives in Hollywood, and they're making their, it's still not easy, and you don't want to come out of the closet.
Of course. Oh, of course. It's still very difficult.
But there are
yes.
people who are subtly doing things that will, over time, make a difference.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And you know something? I've always been a great believer that the Lord above does not, he may do things that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever we're going through right now, there has to be a reason. There has to be a reason for everything we're going through. And I just have to have faith every day that we will be led through this. We will be led out of this. I've always felt that way. And I think that this country was so blessed from the very beginning.
It was.
From the very beginning, that we can't give up on it.
Right. And we're still very blessed.
We are.
Even though we don't
are.
like the direction we're going.
It's going to get better.
It is going to get better.
It will.
Morgan, it's been such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming here and sharing your views with us.
Anytime.
It was really nice.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.